A white, straight, cis male, and I'm proud of that. Deal with it. Today we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite subject,
white privilege.
Only this time it's presented to us in a video titled Explaining White Privilege in 5 minutes. And rather than it just being your regular kind of average amount of cringe, it's presented to us by two guys who, they appear to have just fidget spun themselves straight into autism. It's super cringy, the attempt at humor is just awful, and it's nothing more than a bunch of regurgitated nonsense. So let's go ahead and dive into this horrible video and debunk white privilege, because we already know white privilege doesn't exist. Roll it.
Have you ever been called unprofessional for wearing your hair the way it naturally grows out of your scalp? Is your race accused of being terrorists for wearing scarves on their heads? Have you been stereotyped as a thug, terrorist, gang member, ghetto, lawn mowing guy, rapper, or immigrant for no reason at all when you were just like, standing there?
Well, no, but people have called me an inbred or a school shooter. Difference is, I'm not gonna cry about it and act like a little victim. Listen, it's important to remember that stereotypes are usually never good, but a lot of them are based on something whether you like it or not. Large amounts of school shooters are white, large amounts of terrorists are Muslims, and large amounts of rappers are black. And plus, why is it even an insult to be stereotyped as a rapper? A lot of rappers are extremely famous and rich, so is that really the best you got?
Well, if you said no to most or all of those questions, then you, my friend, have what is called white privilege.
Finally, this is exactly what I wanted to see. More screeching minorities who look like they took lessons from BuzzFeed and MTV to lecture and educate us evil whites on just how pure evil we are. Educate me, daddy.
But we're not talking about rapping, dancing, singing black privilege. We're talking about world-dominating, culturally appropriating, ruling almost every nation white privilege.
Well, that was a significant amount of BS that was just thrown at us very quickly. Let's go back and break this down just a bit.
But we're not talking about rapping, dancing, singing black privilege. We're talking about world-dominating.
All right, I'm gonna stop you right there. Are you actually suggesting because I live in the US, and the US happens to be a world superpower, I now have white privilege? I mean, technically you're correct that I have privilege, because it is a privilege to live in the greatest country on Earth. However, this has nothing to do with skin color, you deranged degenerate. The US is the most powerful nation due to our powerful military. When you actually look at stats for a change, it appears that active duty personnel is made up by 70% white and 16.8% blacks. Does this mean that white people who are losing their lives for America are privileged? Is this the privileged dying to keep the privileged privileged? And what about the blacks? Are they dying to keep the white people privileged? Hopefully you realize how idiotic it would be to try and make this a race issue. Plus, other potential world superpowers are not even made up of white people, such as India or Brazil, which, by the way, is the second blackest nation in the entire world. So do us all a favor and get out of here with your race-baiting nonsense.
And culturally appropriating.
Fight me, bitch.
Ruling almost every nation white privilege.
Whites ruling almost every nation. Well, what exactly constitutes a white person to you? I mean, is a white person with privilege only a white person from European descent? Or is it just anyone with lighter skin? And how light does your skin have to be to start having privilege? If someone's mixed but they have more white than black, does that give them half privilege? Or does privilege only apply to people like me who look like albino crackers? I mean, you've got to give me more details, man. If I don't know how privileged I am, how on earth will I know how many times I need to drop to my knees and say a prayer of forgiveness for being white? Anyway, try looking at the president of Egypt, China, and South Africa. These people are all different ethnicities, but are some of them still too white, therefore giving every single white person existing some form of unspoken privilege? The answer is of course not. And let's also not forget a black man was president of the #1 world superpower for the last 8 years. Yeah, man, your arguments make literally no sense.
Now what in tarnation is white privilege? I worked for everything I ever got, I tell you what.
I'm sure you did, Mr. or Mrs. White Privilege, but your skin made it way easier.
This is an honest question. Do you have anything better to do than let lies spill from your herpes-infested mouth? I mean, how on earth do you even know this? So you're basically saying that a poor white kid born into a trailer park who has to work all his life to provide for his family has a easier time than someone like Will Smith, since he's white and Will Smith isn't? You're insane.
White privilege means no one questions why you got into that really great school or how you got that really great job. It's just assumed that you're highly qualified.
My coffin beckons me. You do realize that you just contradicted your own point, right? You said that when whites get a good job or go to a good school, it's assumed that they are highly qualified and no one questions it. But you also just said that being white makes it way easier. You're literally proving that it is not assumed that white people are highly qualified, but that we just got the job or got into the school because of our white privilege. You are proving that people do question successful whites, painting them as privileged. You are taking away from the achievements of white people, shrugging them off as, you know, they're just helped by their privilege. If you honestly lack this much self-awareness, it's fair to say that you are the privileged one.
White privilege is living in a country in which 87% of the lawmakers look like you, despite the fact that your race makes up nowhere near 87% of the country.
And now a moment of truth with Hunter Avallone. Ah, hello. So you don't like that a large amount of white people are lawmakers. Well, go become a lawmaker then. According to the Book of Truth, page 11, verse 14, it says, you are not oppressed, even though you wish you were. You can apply for any job you want, and becoming a lawmaker isn't even that difficult. So do us all a favor and screw off with your helpless race baiting, and go commit to a different kind of baiting. I'm essentially telling you to go screw yourself. Thank you, and have a nice day.
White privilege means you don't have to worry about being monitored in the store because you look like you steal stuff.
Well, this might hurt some feelings, but facts always trump feelings, so here you go. From 2011 to 2013, 38.5% of people arrested for robbery and a series of other crimes were black. Despite black males aged 15 through 34 and making up only 3% of the population, they are responsible for a vast majority of those crimes. Now, do these stats now make it fair for store owners to monitor black people more closely? No. However, as unfortunate as it is, I can understand why store owners may be prone to monitor black people more. All in all, I think we should all get together and start advocating for less black crime rather than whining about it on the internet.
White privilege is being able to get lost at sea thinking you're going to India, end up somewhere else that already had millions of people and still be credited as discovering the country.
Again, this has absolutely nothing to do with skin color. Had a black man discovered America, he would have most likely been credited also. Besides, Christopher Columbus is credited in discovering America in the sense that he brought awareness of the country to the rest of the world. I mean, are you seriously trying to tell me since some white guy discovered America hundreds of years ago, I personally now have some form of unspoken white privilege? F off.
White privilege means the ability to protest racism, ask for equality, and not be considered a hate group.
Now, he didn't really specify, but I assume he is talking about Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter is labeled a hate group because they riot, burn their cities, and act like maniacs, screaming everything is racist and openly being legitimately racist towards whites.
White privilege is also having a hate group like the KKK be listed as a non-violent Christian organization and not have the rest of your race be labeled as terrorists.
Please make assisted suicide legal so I can be put down through the comforts of euthanization. I actually feel like I'm trying to explain things to a retarded person. All right, dude, look at your screenshot. Just look at it, man. The top says who we are. This is a pro-KKK website. So of course they will label themselves as non-violent or Christian. The mainstream idea of what the KKK is, however, are evil, racist, violent white supremacists. Again, you're trying so hard, you're literally using faulty evidence.
White privilege is not having your application thrown out because your name is weird.
That's cool. Is white privilege also being denied job opportunities for being white?
White privilege is being able to walk into a church, kill 8 people, then be walked out by police and taken to Burger King.
That awkward moment you hate white people so much you don't even bother to fact check. That never even happened, you idiot.
White privilege is not having the celebration of your entire race's contributions to the world relegated to just 1 month because we talk about the cool stuff your ancestors did every month.
This guy's actually getting more and more annoying by the minute. Guess what, buddy? Black privilege is being openly allowed to be proud of your race and then be celebrated, while whites are demonized and called racist for being proud of their race. Get the new shirt, available now.
White privilege is being able to come to a country and literally massacre 90% of the indigenous people and then enslave the other 10% and then say it is your God-given manifest destiny to shine from sea to shining sea. So you continue to slaughter the whole country and then give it your own name and your own laws, and yet you are never called a terrorist or a warmongering murderer or a psychopath, but instead you get your face literally carved on the side of the very mountains in which you stole, and thereby glorified forever as not a deranged killer, but a founding father who did something courageous and beautiful.
All right, well, that was pretty dark. But white people are not called deranged killers because not a single white person who is living today ever participated in the killing. You know, uncommon to popular belief, white people are actually not responsible for what their ancestors do. White people are also not responsible for what other random white people do. Crazy, right? Just like you shouldn't be monitored in a store even though a large amount of blacks are thieves, white people should not be guilted because a large amount of their race committed crimes hundreds of years ago. So nice try on the guilt trip, but you can try a little harder, because I'm still proud to be white.
Now, this is not said to make white people feel guilty about their privilege. It's not your fault you were born white skinned, and I get it. You're not your ancestors. But whether you realize it or not, you do benefit from it, and it is your fault if you do not maintain awareness of that fact.
Could you kindly explain to me how white people are benefiting and where white people are benefiting?
White privilege is absolutely a thing. And being able to deny the fact that it is a thing simply because it doesn't affect you is even a further testament to its existence.
Oh, this argument again. You know, I can't tell if you're painfully cliche or just horribly predictable. Maybe both. I deny white privilege because more than not, it's used as a weapon to silence white people. I deny white privilege because more than not, the examples given are not even correct.
Our world has been purposefully skewed in the favor of white people. And no, you aren't responsible for your ancestors' doings. However, if we do not recognize the problem, then we can never truly remedy it. The first step to enlightenment is awareness of the darkness. If we truly want to live as one, we must first create a world that is good for all.
Yes, because a country where you can be born as poor as can be and grow up to be a successful doctor, a country where black rap or hip-hop is huge and widely loved by all, a country where even if a black criminal is shot results in riots and mass mainstream media coverage, a country that elects a black man as president twice, a country that has equal opportunity for everyone, is definitely not a country that's good for all. I mean, are you crazy or something? White privilege is most certainly not real. It is nothing more than a pathetic attempt at making white people feel guilty for literally being white. Imagine being told you're privileged, so privileged that you can't speak. You're so privileged that your opinions or ideas are completely ignored or disregarded. How exactly is that even privilege to begin with? Like it or not, cry about it all day long, I'm proud of my country. I'm proud of the freedom and I'm proud of the equal opportunity for everyone. I'm proud of who I am and the achievements I've earned, and I am 100% proud to be white. And that's okay. Get the new shirt, troll the racists, expose the double standard. Stay tuned for June 1st when my official store goes live.